All right, welcome to our Hero Boost video series where with Team World Vision in San Antonio, we each week spotlight one of my heroes. And this week, we get to talk with Carly Powne, our team captain at Northern Hills United Methodist Church. Carly and I just got to meet this year as we were preparing to launch at all the churches in San Antonio and get after Team World Vision again here this year. And it's when I became aware to learn a little bit more about Carly and her story that I was really inspired. She's a dynamic, amazing captain with our teams, and I'll certainly let her tell her story a little bit more. But Carly has been with Northern Hills for the last year and a half, and was with Team World Vision last year as team captain, and again this year, of course. So. Let's go ahead and just jump right in. Carly, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you live now, life stuff, that sort of thing.
Okay. Well, I'm from Oregon, and I got into running about 6 years ago in order to kind of help a family member for the Jingle Bell Run for Arthritis. And then with every run, it just got more and more fun. So I kept doubling and doubling, and just really found my passion. So I kept going. But unfortunately, over the last couple of years, I've backed off a lot. And so just getting to be involved with Team World Vision has brought back that passion and that joy and that love of running. And it's been really good. But yeah, so I'm from Oregon, but I live in Texas now, working as the youth director at Northern Hills Church and loving it.
That's great. So what made you want to get into ministry and working with youth and kids and that type of thing?
So I've had a passion for youth ever since high school. I was one of those that said I was going to be a youth director, and everyone said your mind will change, but nope, God just kept me on that path, and I somehow I ended up in youth ministry, and I've been doing it for 19 years now, and which is a really kind of incredibly long time. But I have a passion for youth and missions. And every time that I try to switch to the mission field, God says, nope, stick with the youth. So, so here I am.
That's awesome. Now, obviously moving to San Antonio from Oregon, you experienced a little bit of a weather change. I'm just, listening to your story now too. How have you managed with the San Antonio heat, training in the heat? It's not easy.
No, it's very, very different. And today was actually one of those days where it was cool in the morning, and so I enjoyed my run and went and did double what I was supposed to just because I finally could. But no, it's very different. I'm not burning my lungs anymore in the cold. I'm instead experiencing humidity in a way I've never had before.
Yeah, I'm sure. So tell us, you mentioned a little bit about running for the last 6 years, and when this thing came up, how has running with Team World Vision impacted you on a personal level in the last 2 years?
It's been really incredible. Again, it's because I had fallen in love with running years ago and got out of it. And I was kind of afraid that I'd never fall in love with it again, but Team World Vision came in, and when you're running for somebody else and it's not about you, it makes you want to keep going, and you want to participate, and you want to do the run, and you're aware of all the people around the world that don't get this so-called luxury of running, even if it's supposed to be a punishment, it really is a luxury. So running with Team World Vision's made me very aware of I'm lucky to have the health I have, and so using that to bring health to others. And again, in the midst of that, I've fallen in love with running again, but it's a lot of the days where it's not about the run at all. It's more about helping others. And that's one of the fun things about Texas is where I run are a lot of like flooded areas. And so looking at that water and thinking, this is why I'm doing it. I'm here to bring clean water to people when I'm trying to jump around it on our runs here. So.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your story from last year and running the race. How that went for you.
Okay. Well, last year I had the goal to raise the money to raise $1,300, and one of the very first donations I got was $100, $50 for the first mile and $50 for my last mile. And I told everyone I was going to run the marathon. And that was my goal. And I had done a marathon years ago when I was in much better shape. And I thought I can do this. But a lot of things just got in my way between health and experiencing running in Texas for the first time. Just a lot of things got in the way, but I kept watching my pace. I knew I could do it. And even on race day, I went knowing I was going to finish 26 miles that day. And on race day, everything that could go wrong went wrong. And even last night I was looking at my times, and it's so discouraging because it was so, even in my worst shape, my time from last year was worse than that had ever been. So it was just it's a very humbling experience to have had so many things go wrong that I was so slow. But I hit my stride finally, and I felt good about what I was doing. And I was at about mile 11 or 12 when I finally felt like, okay, now I can go and I'm ready. And all of a sudden we got cut off from the course, and I was thinking that was supposed to be I was supposed to go forward to the marathon, but for some reason everyone's yelling I'm near the end. And as it turns out, I had missed the course cutoff by just minutes, and was just really bummed because, like I said, even though in the morning things had gone wrong, I was feeling good and I was hitting my stride and I was ready to go and to finish the next half marathon. I mean, the second half of the marathon. So when I crossed the finish line and everyone's cheering for me, I was just crying because I wasn't done. I had set out to run 26 miles and I was only halfway there. And more than anything, I felt like I had let down my donors and people who had supported me for this cause. So I talked to a few people and I calmed down a little bit. I called home and my parents said, well, go finish it. And I had never thought about that. And I thought, all right, I will. So I took a little break and then I went to the local park and I did 11 more miles at the local park until the sun set. And then I went to the gym and finished my 2. So at the end of the day, I did my 26.2 for Team World Vision. But definitely not the way I expected it to be. But again, it was about finishing those miles, and sometimes life doesn't take you the way you think you're going to go, but it's all part of the journey.
You know, I think as I hear you tell this story, I can imagine you feeling pretty defeated that day, but I just want to encourage you today, Carly, too, that hearing that story brings inspiration to not only me, I know so many others in San Antonio too, but then to know the steps that you took and what it meant to you. It's going to inspire so many people to go out and do this race this time around. I have thought about your story so many times, and especially whenever I'm having a bad day, whether it's out training and the run's not going as well as I'd hoped it would, or whatever. There's so many times that we were presented with challenges, and the fact that you didn't give up and that you just saw it from a different angle and still found success and still found the finish line is a huge inspiration to all of us.
It's interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that until my pastor was the one that mentioned it. And he said I needed to share the story because I was kind of ashamed that I didn't finish until he gave me that power to say, share it. And again, it just goes to show it's not about us. It's about how it's affecting others and the end goal, not the way we get there.
Yeah, and just how much that looks like perseverance in our own lives. I'm excited to hear you tell it. And now you're this year. You know, now we're looking at this year. You've got a lot of new teammates, a lot bigger team. We've got some really awesome things going on this year. What's your outlook for this year? What are some of the things you want to accomplish?
I'm excited for this year. But again, just like last year, God's been working on me in that kingdom. Again, it's not about me and it's not about my personal goals, but just kind of, again, I'm running for those who can't. And this year, one of my best running buddies is my dad, and he can't walk right now. So kind of running for him, but also in the midst of this, just being able to be the voice in my church and in my community about Team World Vision, and which is an organization that I've been connected to without knowing I was connected to it for a long time. And I have one of my 13-year-olds in my youth group who wants to run this year. And so we've started running together. And again, I'm just reminded that it's about the kingdom. It's not about me. It's not about my physical goals. It's about her telling her story, her getting the word out, and her crossing the finish line for the first time when she's 13. I mean, it's really exciting. So between that and then just seeing different people around the church that get excited to see each other and say, how was your run? And meeting different people at the group runs from the community. And it's been a really fun experience for it to be something so local that goes so global, and knowing that it's such a little thing, it makes such a big difference. It's really fun.
That's awesome. If you could encourage people who are watching this video, in terms of facing fear, we've got a lot of people doing this for the first time. I think they're going to be really inspired to hear your story. Is there anything else you could encourage them with, whether it's fear of training or whether it's a fear of the fundraising, to help them at this point?
In both, I would say fear of training, just keep going. It's hard, but it's so worth it. And on race day, you'll be so glad you did. But without the training, it makes race day really hard. But as far as my biggest fear is calling people and asking for money. And so instead of calling, I've just been putting it out on Facebook and writing blogs and then talking to people about it, wearing my Team World Vision shirt in the store, things like that, where people start to ask because they see the Team World Vision jersey after a run. And I mean, even this week, we went to the farmer's market after the run, and lots of people had their Team World Vision jerseys on. So people started to ask what it was. But I would say it's scary to ask for money, but remember, you're not asking it for yourself. That $50 changes a life, and that if you can get 10 people to give $5, then that changes a life. So anybody can give up $5, and it's hard to ask, but if you don't ask, people aren't willing. But when you do ask, you'd be surprised how many people are willing and how many people do want to share. Yep. And this is their opportunity to make a difference through you. So be that voice and let them serve because of you. That's fantastic. I have seen that too personally. That's a really great word. People are going to be surprised. And I think there's going to be so many people on our team this year that don't realize how inspiring they really are. And I think probably even last year, you probably felt the same way, that your story wasn't going to be inspiring, and then look at what God did. And we have so many people who are probably feeling something very similar, but simply by sharing our stories, we'd be surprised at what God can do. Thank you so much, Carly, for being on this video today. This was fantastic. I've been dying for you to get your story out to people. This is going to be such a great platform to do that. And so I hope as people watch this video, share it with your friends to encourage one another, and as we call on God to help us persevere through this journey that we're on and save children's lives. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for letting me share. I enjoy it. It's great. Okay, we'll see you later. All right, thank you. Bye.